And we have thereby driven around in 13 of Europe's 29 countries, over 600 stations in our network. But here and now, we see in the higher 30s that total cost of ownership becomes financially competitive for many customers.
So right now I'm at the stall of Traton Charging Solutions, and in this video we are going to learn a lot about truck charging and what is the future. So with Dr. Sundström we are going to find out. Hi Dr. Sundström.
Hi.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And today I wanted to understand about Traton Charging Solutions, and I think you're the best person to explain it.
So,
thank you so much. So could you explain about yourself, about Traton Charging Solutions, why it came into being, and what are the industry challenges that you're trying to solve?
Yeah. So I have a background as a digital strategist within the manufacturing businesses. I was at Sandvik 2 years ago, and then called up by Traton, who understood that going electric with the trucks, charging is a key enabler for that transition. And they wanted to create Traton Charging Solutions as a company to not compete with the brands, but to enable them to offer eMobility service to their customers. So we're basically, in essence, a EMSP, a mobile service platform.
And mobile platform services. And the typical customer groups that you are catering to are, I would assume, Scania and MAN and Volkswagen trucks?
Those are our customers, so to say, our internal customers, but they're also our sales channel. Because a fantastic product is one thing. But we should not outrule that it takes an effort to place a charging service in the hands of customers. And for that reason, Scania and MAN today are our sales channels, basically.
Okay. So the company Traton Charging Solutions existed or came into being for the last 2 years. What did you see specifically the unmet need right now in the market, or the challenge which you tried to solve with the? Does it make the charging experience seamless? How is the customer charging experience, the journey looks like?
Yeah. No, but specific needs. They need high power charging, rapid charging, but also strategically located charging stations. It needs to be accessible for a truck to go there.
Exactly.
And they basically cannot accept any waiting times. And for that reason, what we have started to do is that we have validated what charging locations built for passenger vehicles that could sort of start out being the base coverage also for trucks in Europe. Wow. And we have thereby driven around in 13 of Europe's 29 countries. We're registered in 20, so we bit by bit we're getting there. And this way we have found 499 passenger car sites that actually could be truck suitable. But also we have partnered with about 15 or so partners that build new sites for trucks especially. And that brings another 150 charging stations. So over 600 stations in our network, truck suitable already today.
Oh, that's brilliant. So that makes the life of truck drivers smooth, and it makes their job easier, because if I understand it correctly, then you're directing the trucks as well and making their routes as well, planning routes, the charging routes as well?
Exactly. So if we look at MAN and Scania then, speaking of our so-called sales channels of the service, what they do for the customer is also, as you say, the initial route planning consultancy, as we call it. Basically help the customer, okay, this is your route, then we have charging locations at these, potentially you build a depot here, potentially you charge at the destination here, then you need public charging in between, then we have such station here, basically do the route planning for the customer. So it's far more than technology and the charging location itself. It's basically getting there and basically being secure as a truck driver.
Absolutely.
Get in.
And I understand it from the perspective, because I was working at a charger manufacturer, and what I see, there is a difference of understanding and knowledge when it comes to passenger car drivers and compare it to the truck chargers or the truck drivers? Because the electric trucks are being rolled out slowly and steadily. The people, for them, it's a new technology. And the first question, you mentioned the words consultative, is that they are firstly, okay, I have to do so much of the work. I have to route the planning. What does it cost? How much savings will I have at the end of the year or on each trip? How does it compare to diesel trucks?
Yeah.
And with the insights that you're delivering, I think that makes the job of the drivers as well as the logistics companies, long haul as well as middle haul, quite easy, I would say, right?
Yeah. And what we can see is that total cost of ownership in comparison to diesel is starting to make sense, actually, because of the low energy costs and also maintenance costs being low. So actually, we see an increasing need for BEVs right now. What we sadly see is that infrastructure built for trucks, charging infrastructure built for it, is not keeping up to the same pace that we want to see.
Exactly. But anyways, you have done a tremendous job, I would say. Locating 600 already existing sites for the truck drivers is already a plus point, because I cannot recall any, actually I can recall only one site that I've seen from a CPO in Germany who has, for the trucks can charge over there. But the rest of the sites I've visited over the last 2 years, driving toward 35,000 kilometers, I cannot recall any single one of them where trucks could have charged. So that's
Are you driving a truck?
No, I'm driving an EV.
Because what we see, we have about 200 or so CPOs that we talk to, where 33% of them still think that they can mix passenger car and trucks.
Okay.
The rest of them has actually started to understand what they need to understand, that they cannot mix cars and trucks. So our 139 truck-built locations, they don't allow for any passenger cars to be there, because you cannot have kids and go and buy a snack in front of a truck driving out from its charging location. So it's really essential that we basically divide these two networks, both for the specific needs, but also for security reasons for the passengers.
And also what you mentioned earlier, to avoid the queues, to avoid the congestions, it's absolutely essential for a truck driver, probably who is coming from a 4.5-hour journey, and now he needs maybe 45 minutes break, or maybe he has done already 8-hour shift or 10-hour shift.
No, waiting times are not accepted, and for the 45 minutes break, it's approximately what he needs to charge his truck. So, yeah, time is money.
So that's pretty nice. So what do you see on the development side of the future? So we have talked about what you can support right now, but in the future there are going to be megawatt chargers, there could be vehicle-to-grid. How do you see, are you working on those solutions as well?
Absolutely. Megawatt charging is a game changer. It allows for the high charging power and the rapid charging sessions that the truck drivers need. And also, as it's truck tuned, so to say, it also allows for the locations that the truck drivers need to see. So definitely a game changer. But also we're working on dynamic route planning, so that we can basically offer booking, for example, in a sense that if you don't reach your charging destination, we dynamically need to reroute you to another charging location in our network. And megawatt charging is part of the network and will need to be an increasingly amount. But many trucks already are on the roads and they don't necessarily allow for megawatt charging.
Exactly.
So we need to offer the mix. We need to be the service that guarantees truck suitability and basically allow for the kind of charging that suits your needs. And then also we're looking at deep truck integrations so that it cannot be a service on the side of the truck itself.
Dr. Sundström, so do you see that there will be a requirement for advanced reservation of the truck drivers before they reach the site? And another question was about rerouting. So can you see on your platform that if a truck is already standing, is blocking the charge point basically, and the other truck driver who had to go over there, now he can see that I will exceed my 4.5-hour time, and then you reroute it automatically so that he goes to a nearby truck charging site so that he does not exceed and he can still plug in?
Yeah. So we can see availability of the location itself. And first step here is to build low-level analytics for when is the site usually occupied. when is a good slot for you to go to a certain time or a certain site, so to say. Next one up is, of course, booking with one CPO, though built on the standardized protocol, so that we're not building the proprietary systems with one CPO. And next one up from that one is what you say, dynamic booking. So that if you press the gas pedal and you need to charging before you thought you needed it, that you reallocate it to a different charging location.
Okay.
We are aware and we are looking at all those layers, but of course we're starting at the first layer, where we offer basically analytics of availability.
That's also nice to know right now, because each highway, each corridor will have different usability and different times when the trucks are passing by.
Yeah.
It makes absolute sense. Probably the last two questions from my side. For the truck charging to really pick up, we know from the OEM side of the things, we know from the CPO side of things. Do you think the pricing of the charging will play an important role to accelerate the electric truck transition?
No, but absolutely. Prices need to come down, and we already see them coming down, to be honest, from those on PV. And partly also because trucks will consume much more. And they will charge much more in public, driving the long routes. So loyalty with a few truck MSPs from the CPO side, offering us a better price, will of course provide a return of investment there, in that the loyalty effect with us will push much more utilization into their network than, say, loyalty with a passenger car consumer like myself in my private life, charging mostly on vacation.
Exactly. So on the passenger side of things, you mentioned the word consumption. On the passenger side, I've seen my car, Volkswagen ID.5, used to consume on average 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer. What I know from the truck side, it's roughly 95 to 110 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer. And that's a whole different scale we are talking about.
It's about 4 to 6 passenger cars on a 0 to 100 charging session with the truck. Though you're not often charging 0 to 100, we must remember.
No, that's true. I never took that risk. So now we are talking about pricing, and I have a question. What do you see the pricing corridor of truck charging per kilowatt hour, where the truck charging can really accelerate?
So it changes year by year, actually, because in our predictions we see that prices will come down, and so also potentially on diesel in certain areas. So from that reason, the price expectations will go even lower over time. In some markets, diesel prices will be higher, so it's different basically. But here and now, we see in the higher 30s that total cost of ownership becomes financially competitive for many customers.
So is it somewhere between 20 cents to 50 cents per kilowatt hour?
In the higher 30s.
In the higher 30s? Okay, you already answered it. I could not believe it, so that's why I had to ask. Yeah. And my last question will be, Dr. Sundström, will be regarding vehicle-to-grid. So vehicle-to-grid for passenger cars, I've heard that it's going to become sort of a standard from 2027 and 2028. The OEMs will be forced. I do not know about truck charging or the truck OEMs. Are they going to go towards vehicle-to-grid? And if they are going, are you planning to support as well on the vehicle-to-grid?
No, absolutely. An OEM has long time horizons. A hardware manufacturer is used to looking at all the layers to come, so to say. So of course we have vehicle-to-grid on the horizon, but it's not what we're going to launch tomorrow, so to say. But it comes with huge potentials of basically securing power in a truck and potentially having that energy accessible in certain use cases where there is an energy shortage, for example.
Stabilize the grid, as well as probably for some logistic companies, if their trucks are standing every day for 10 to 12 hours, they can also sell their energy and earn money with it. And that's why the total cost of ownership, or maybe the return on investment on those trucks, is going to be much faster in those scenarios.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, but we had energy outage in Spain
Yep.
a few months ago.
Exactly.
Breaking news, large parts of Spain and Portugal have been hit by a power outage.
And if trucks then were around, high-powered, they could, of course, have helped.
Indeed.
So those use cases are also on the map.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Dr. Sundström, for your time and explaining so much in detail and being very transparent and honest. I think I learned myself a lot of stuff from the truck charging side of things, and for that I can only thank you and wish you a lot of success in your role at Traton Charging
It was very
Solutions.
nice meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.